Well, good morning. Thank you for coming. We're running a little bit behind, so we have to be brief. I do want to remind you that there are a couple of open internship opportunities. There's a position with the West Virginia Miners baseball team in Beckley for this summer, and there's a financial services organization in the Princeton area that's looking for an intern. If anybody's interested, you can contact me. Today we have 4 students who will be presenting their internships. And the students are Kayla Cox with Liberty Tax Service, Brandon Brown, intern at Sears, Chasidy Kodak at the IRS Center in Beckley, and Brandon Green here at Concord University.
Good morning. As he said, I'm Chasidy Kodak, and I did my internship with the Internal Revenue Service at the Beckley Finance Center. How I gained my employment, it was a really simple process. The internship coordinator sent the business division an email, and they forwarded it out to other business students. And all I had to do was send in a resume to them. That's pretty much all I had to do. And they contacted me actually the same day that I sent it in, set up an interview for the next week. And probably about an hour after the interview, they called and gave me the job. I didn't get a start. That was in September. I didn't actually get a start until January. So because I had to go through a process of a background check just to make sure that I wasn't going to, I guess, harm anyone in the building. I guess that's just how federal jobs are. But it was very simple to get. Right now we're actually under a hiring freeze and we're not accepting any external hiring, but hopefully that will be lifted soon. But with budget, I don't think it's going to. A little bit of history about the Beckley Finance Center. It actually started in 1993 in December. There was only 30 people employed there. It was called the Beckley Administration Services Center. And the picture that is right, let me show you. In the upper right-hand corner, that is the original building. There was only 30 people that worked there, and what we pretty much do there is we process payments. We don't deal with taxes, which a lot of people, that's their automatic thing. When I tell them I work for the IRS, oh, if you see my name, make sure I don't get in trouble, but I just pay the bills. So that's where we started. Businesses were getting very angry, the vendors that we paid to, because they weren't getting their payments in time. We were piling up interest because if we don't pay a bill on time within 30 days, because we're governed by prompt pay law, we have to pay interest. So that's why they originally started us, and Robert C. Byrd was the main reason that our building got started. In 95, they changed the name to the Beckley Finance Center, which it is currently, and moved to the Beaver location, which is right underneath on the bottom right-hand side. And at that time, they added 50 new employees, and they got some new processes, some new accounting processes from the national office. And then a couple years later, they had to add another 50 employees because more processes were sent down because they saw how well of a job they were doing in Beckley. And then in 1999, we moved to the building that we're at now, which is the big building in the top left-hand corner. It's the Robert C. Byrd Federal Courthouse. And as of today, we have about 236 employees. There are multiple different divisions that we pay to. We pay to other government agencies, we pay to commercial vendors, and we pay summons, which pretty much, if you do get in trouble with your taxes, revenue officers will subpoena records, and that's what that's for. And we had so many processes that we had to open another office, which is the office, the last picture on there, and that is actually directly beside the original building. And I never even knew that existed, so. Here's the chart that we have. This is our organizational chart. As you can see, we have the director at the top. We have an accounts payable funds management branch, which is the branch that I'm in, and I am down in unit 2 under the commercial payable section. And I just pretty much process commercial payments. That's all that I've done. And we have to look at contracts and verify with the contract that the payment is correct. And that's what the commercial payable section does. I started out in the government payables and receivables section in the debt collections unit, and that doesn't deal with taxes, but that deals with if we overpay you for a bill, you have to pay us that money back. It's kind of like the accounts receivable part. And as you can see, we have an obligations unit, a miscellaneous unit, relocation and travel. They're kind of their own separate entity, and they deal with people, high officials all throughout the nation. that just need to, that are being relocated for some reason. I've mentioned on this before, my job duties. I pay to commercial vendors. I have to request a service called goods receipt and acceptance. And what that is, that's just an end user out in the field verifying that they received the good that they're billing us for or the service. A lot of those are monthly recurs, and they're either paid at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. So as you can imagine, this time of the month is extremely busy, just like any other office building. I also work in aged unliquidated accruals and aged unliquidated obligations. We would just refer to those as AUA and AUO. As far as the AUA goes, all that is whenever I get the goods receipt and acceptance, I just don't have an invoice for it. So it shows up on a report. And then I have AUO, which is whenever we have money obligated on a contract and money has not been used off that contract in probably about 300 days. That pops up on our report. We have to contact vendors, end users, whoever possible to see if that money is going to be used. If not, we need to get that money deobligated, because if you've seen the news, you know government's pressed hard for money. And I've had to communicate with vendors and other IRS employees. I've been able to use a lot of the skills that I've learned here at Concord. As far as accounting goes, I have to reconcile a lot of contracts with the AUA and AUO reports. I have to do reconciliations. And I've also learned how to, in like business communication, I learned how to communicate effectively to where I don't have to worry about, you know, oh, well, if I say this, is this not professional? I learned that in those classes, and I am able to actually use that today. And also, just as far as my management classes, I've been able to understand more, so why management does what they do. Why, you know, they put a certain rule in place or a procedure in place that kind of helps you understand better. And I'm currently in leadership and followership class, and I've learned some stuff from there. Right now, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I've learned to be a good leader. A good follower. In order to become a good leader, you have to follow first. And that's one thing that I've been able to take with me, because I am actually the youngest employee in our building. I'm like the baby of the building. When I came in, I was just 20. So everybody kind of took me under their wing. And it's a great place to work. I encourage you, if an email comes out telling you that you can work there, definitely send in your resume. It's not a hard process. The hardest process is probably getting interviewed by a private investigator. That's kind of creepy, but aside from that. So, is there any questions? Anything? All right, thank you.